Hi, I'm Designer Jen Gallacher and welcome to another Memories Made scrapbooking process tutorial video. So I'm creating this layout today based on a challenge given to me by one of my blog readers named Anya. And every Monday on my blog I have what I call Monday musings, and I just pour out my heart and soul into my blog posts. And she challenged me to include some of that heartfelt journaling onto a layout. So Anya, this one's for you. So we're going to start with a sheet of cardstock that I have cut down. It's about 8.5 inches wide, and it is about 10 and a little over 10.5 inches tall. And you can absolutely eyeball this, but it's almost an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper. And this is from a 12 by 12 sheet from Bo Bunny. And unfortunately I had to cut up these beautiful cards on the back, but I was enamored with this coral peach polka dot. And we're going to create a diagonal onto this page, which we will then put onto an 8.5 by 11 inch page. The first thing that I'm going to do is add some journaling, and I wanted to show you one way that I sometimes design on the diagonal. So you can see that I've pre-printed the paper. I pre-printed it on a sheet of 8.5 by 11 inch cardstock, and I printed it on the landscape side so that it would be like this rather than printed like this. And this is why. I'm going to place it onto the edge of the paper. The corner down here will perfectly align, and then I'm going to slightly offset this piece, and this will create the foundation for my layout. The next piece I will add is a strip also from Bo Bunny. It's a beautiful floral, and this particular piece inspired all the colors that you're going to see in this layout, and it has this stripe at the bottom which we will use later. So again, I'm just placing adhesive kind of in the center, and then using the line at the top, we're going to slightly overlap it. So you can see I have strips coming off the side. We'll take care of that in a bit. Then we're going to take the other side, which is this black strip, and do the exact same thing. Now you can either cut this off with a pair of scissors by simply turning it over and then following the edge, or you can use a paper trimmer to trim it. So now you can see how when you cut off the edges, it creates this diagonal look across the page. That's just a way to simply dress up your page. It's not very hard, but all of a sudden the page looks a lot more dynamic. Across the bottom here, we're going to add a yellow strip. And be sure to check the links below because I will have all the products listed below. So if you're interested in what any of the paper manufacturers are, you can find that below. We're going to use a stamp on this particular piece. And we're going to use some Stampin' Up! Yellow ink called Hello Honey, but a mustard colored ink. Anything that's slightly darker than the pattern paper that you're using is what we're going for. And I just have a little phrase here that I'm going to use. And I'm using a Stampabilities acrylic block that has a grid in it. Grids are great for sentiment stamps because they ensure that you get a nice placement. So you can see that's a great ink. It says, "Seriously, what would I do without you?" If you're interested in reading the journaling for this layout, I will include it as well in the description below, so go ahead and read it. Then just like we did with the other papers, we are going to attach this by adding some adhesive right down the middle. And before I attach it, I think I'm going to add a strip of cardstock that has been cut into a scallop shape. I just want to center that. You can manipulate it and change it however you want. Now we can add it to the page. I like the way that black looks. And we're going to place this on the top part of that pattern paper. Now here's the technique I use when I'm just using scissors. I used a paper trimmer for the first part because the papers were so thick and so many layers, but a pair of scissors that simply rests against the edge will easily cut through these papers. All right, now I'm going to use several different die cuts today. One is one that cuts this file folder shape, and it's a Tim Holtz die cut called File Folders. And I don't know if you can see on camera, but there is one that runs to the edge, which is this one. It would be placed like this. And then there's one that runs in the middle. And you can either run it through your machine like this, which I did with the 6x6 paper pad, or you could take a sheet of paper that is cut to fit inside your die cut machine and do it along the long side of the paper. So I love manual die cut machines. Again, products are listed below if you're interested. I'm going to lift up this paper just a smidge so I can add this file folder. And again, I'm going to place it along the diagonal, just like I did with the other elements. The second die cut that I used is a leaf die cut, and it is called Sizzix Leaves. It's from Eileen Hull. She's a friend of mine, and I love her designs. Right now she has a bunch of camping designs that are really cute. But I die cut several leaves, and there's small ones, and there are as well as a large one. And again, I don't know if you can see if it translates well on camera, but I cut these from a 6x6 paper pad, but I liked that there was a little bit of a distressing texture to these leaves. So I cut several of them, and we'll place some up here. You may want to cut the stems off to do this particular technique, but right now I'm just kind of placing them on. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off the stems. You could also crease and fold these, and I'll show you what you can do with these. This gives it a little bit more dimension. You could also use a scoring tool if you prefer, but I just eyeball it and do it with my fingers and my fingernails. And you can open it up and you have a perfect leaf. You could also ink the center. If you're comfortable machine stitching or hand stitching, you could stitch through the center of these leaves. But it just gives it a little bit more dimension. The other thing is it happens to be that on the back side there is a black pattern paper, and that's just a happy coincidence. But if these leaves kind of stick up and are dimensional and you see that black paper on the back, like a peekaboo effect, there's already black in the collection that I'm using. So kind of flatten them back out and add some adhesive to the bottom. And then we're going to create kind of a cluster of leaves here. And then I thought it would be fun to bring in these crochet hearts. These are from Bella Boulevard, and we're going to overlap two of them. So it creates a nice thick item at the top, and we'll do the same here in the top corner. One of my favorite sticker sheets, or rather sticker collections, is this one from Tim Holtz. And what it is it has a bunch of different craft as well as white phrases, and you can build journaling with it, or you can simply use one. And it's a little longer than I want, but this particular sticker says sentimental. And we're going to stick it on the top of that tab. And it just fills it out. You could achieve the same effect either by stamping, writing, or typing something on craft cardstock. The title for this layout is cut with a Silhouette die cut machine, and this is an actual cut file from Silhouette. We're going to use this to talk about my daughter and I. Again, the journaling discusses how she's getting ready to go and serve a mission for our church and how much I'm going to miss her and how much I hate goodbyes. So the title, You and Me, seemed perfectly appropriate. I'm using a Zig glue pen to paint the back of this die cut. You can also run it through your Xyron machine or use the dot runner. I like the glue dot. I'm going to move down this strip a little bit because I don't want the title interfering with any of the journaling. And you can see that the edges fit perfectly still. I'll go down a little further. So sometimes I have to change my mind mid-design, and that's okay, especially with an adhesive. Even if it's a permanent adhesive, you can easily lift it back up. But I just like the way that teal works. For the photos, I'm going to use some chipboard frames. Some of the companies that make these are Crepe Paper. Amy Tangerine has some as well, and lots of different companies seem to have these. And then I have two photos that I have cut out and trimmed. They are 2 inches by 3 inches wide. Now you want to cut yours to fit whatever size of frame that you have. To attach these, we're just going to use some mini glue dots. And I attach them at the top and some of the edge of the bottom. And we'll put the close-up photo in the black frame. And then we'll place the farther away photo where she's standing a little taller in the yellow frame. And I simply shopped frame colors that matched the Bo Bunny paper. And then to attach these, you can just do adhesive on the back, or you can add additional glue dots if your frames seem to be heavy and not sticking. We'll overlap the black one on top of the yellow one. And then we'll come back here with the leaves, again, folding them in half. Now let's go ahead and add some leaves to this yellow frame. And we can slightly overlap the paper because, again, remember, we're going to add it to a larger sheet of 12 by 12 cardstock. And then I have a third crochet heart. And then to the center or the top part of the heart, I'm going to add this darling little button that is yellow and it's tied with white crochet twine. I use crochet twine because it's a little thinner and it slips more easily through the buttonholes. Now we're going to place the entire piece onto a sheet of green cardstock, and we're going to offset it a little bit. We'll add a bunch of adhesive. You really want this to stick because the sheet is a little heavy with all the different layering that we've done. And I tend to offset it when I do this kind of a style. And then to the corners, you can see I have these craft photo corners from Thermoweb. You can get them from Scrapbook adhesives, you can get them from Canson. But I really like the way they look on projects, and you've probably seen me use them a lot. They also have lots of different options depending on the company: black, white, craft, glitter, and sometimes additional other colors. So that's always fun. Then to the top here, we're going to place some a clear acrylic banner. And this is from Heidi's Swap. And to hold it in place, we're going to take some Anything Goes brads from Echo Park paper. And we're going to take these 2 gold brads and we're going to attach them here. Now to stick them in, you're going to need some kind of a paper piercer. And you'll want to use a foam base below to stick them in. So let's go ahead and do that. So you can see here how the gold brads help hold it in place. Then to the bottom here, to bring some more of that gold bling, we're going to add a large gold sequin as well as 2 really tiny sequins. And I just use glue dots to do that. You're welcome to use wet adhesive if you prefer. So here is a layout that was challenged by Anya to include some heartfelt journaling. If you are looking to tell stories that you have yet to include in your scrapbooks, be sure to check out my Words Unsaid self-paced workshop. It's a workshop that I teach that includes videos as well as a full-color printable ebook. I'll include the link below if you're interested, as well as additional ideas you might consider for classes that I'm teaching. Thank you for joining me for today's Memories Made video. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss out on these weekly videos.